What is up, folks? What is going on? This is We Bleed Purple podcast. It is the official start to the regular season for the Baltimore Ravens. We are previewing the Buffalo Bills game for Sunday Night Football. Daniel Wilcox, Matt Trigger. We are live on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe to We Bleed Purple podcast on YouTube. Wilcox, a couple nights away, man. You know, we're simultaneously watching the opening night game right now with Dallas and Philly, but we got some stuff to talk about with our boys. We are 3 nights away from redemption for last year's playoff exit.
Man, Matt Trigger, we are absolutely back. Like Mojo Brooks said, we back, baby, we back. It's officially football season, fans. We are here, and We Bleed Purple podcast will be covering every single game this year. We are super excited. Can't wait for this opening kickoff game against Baltimore and Buffalo. It is a rematch from last year opening game where we lost the game by an inch, with that likely touchdown catch in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, that was Kansas City. That was our
It wasn't the Bills?
No, the Bills was when Derrick Henry ran for 87 on the first snap.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. It was KC last year because it was a replay of football of the AFC Championship game from the year prior. Yeah, you're right. It was. That's exactly what it was.
This is the rematch this was the last team we played before our season was over last year. You and I were both not very happy doing that show.
We was not. This is the game that Mark Andrews dropped the game-winning touchdown pass, right?
It was a 2-point conversion to decide the game. Yep. Yeah. And he fumbled the ball trying to beat Zay Flowers. Yep.
And Lamar had a fumble early in the game and threw an interception that was a weird interception early in the game. Worst interception he threw all year. Yeah, I remember. It was a tough game, tough loss for us, man. We knew we was going to the Super Bowl again last year like we did the year prior. It's 2 years in a row I felt like we really lost out on making it to the Super Bowl and actually winning it because I thought we had the best team in the league the last 2 years in a row. And here we are going into year 3 of this same squad feeling like we're loaded, and we're absolutely loaded from top to bottom. Everything that we was weak in last year, I feel like Eric DeCosta has filled those gaps, and we're looking forward to seeing what's going to happen to this season. This could easily be an undefeated season, but it all comes down to coaching, preparation, and the players just being locked in from day one.
Yeah, I had the chance. I was invited on to NFL show last night and do a season preview, and I told the host of the show, he's a good friend of mine. He was like, "What do you think the Ravens, floor is?" I said the floor is 13-4. I said their ceiling is 15-2. But if we play flawless football and we stay healthy the way that we should, we can run the table. I personally think that we're gonna, get the 1 seed again this year. I think that the Super Bowl is gonna have to go through Baltimore, whoever gets there. I predicted that it's gonna be us in the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl, but
us and the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
It's tough.
The
Parsons.
Yeah. The injury report's been out for a couple days, Wilcox, and Pat Ricard is still not practicing. He's been out for 2 weeks now. That's a little worrisome to me. Me too. I don't know about you.
With him and Isaiah likely both out, that's kind of scary for our offense. The only good thing I can say, Matt, is that we're so deep in offensive guys, in our receiving core, and we still got Mark Andrews, still got Kolar, but that's the only thing that kind of makes me feel a little bit like we're okay. But I feel like that was the difference maker in that game we lost to the Bills last year, not having Zay Flowers.
Yeah. I had this conversation with a couple of fans that watch our show, and they said that they're not necessarily worried about Ricard missing the game. And I said, if you pay attention to this offense, a lot of the running game is predicated on Pat Ricard being the move guy, and he's responsible for blocking a lot of trap plays, a lot of counters, a lot of the stretch runs. He's imperative in a lot of different aspects of this team, and I'm not worried about him missing a lot of the year. It's a calf issue. Hopefully he's a go. We'll know tomorrow night for sure when they release the final injury report before the game on Sunday night. But Isaiah Likely, he's probably a week or two away. I think he'll be around week 3.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about, at least right now in the media, where they think he's going to be back week 3 for Detroit on Monday Night Football. So
I'm a little worried about Likely. I can't lie to you, Matt. Like, I'm a little worried about him. I mean, the reason I retired was because of my foot, and I had surgery on my foot, and I just know how horrible of an injury that is. You don't realize how important your feet is to your body until you actually get it injured to the point where you break a bone or have to have surgery or something like that. And having surgery on your feet and trying to recover from that during the actual season, it's kind of tough, man. You need a lot of rest for that. And I'm not sure exactly what the surgery was or what kind of surgery was, but mine was on they had to cut open the side of my big toe, and they had to go in and repair like some ligaments and tendons and bones. I did a microfracture surgery on my toe and everything. So I don't know what Isaiah is dealing with directly, but I just know what it did for my career. And I don't know if you know, but that's what ended Deion Sanders' career as well, his toe. He had a foot surgery several times, and that's what sidelined him and retired him the first time. And he came back out of retirement feeling like it was okay, and then ended up retiring again because all of the metatarsals is the bones that connect all your toes. All the metatarsals, the tissues and stuff tore, and all those bones just came apart. And that's what retired Deion Sanders his second time as well. So I don't take feet for light at all. I feel like that's a super dangerous injury for him to possibly have going into a season. And I want to pray that he'll be back as soon as possible, but I also want to pray that he comes back 100% and not, half-ass trying to push off of it and end up hurting something else or re-injuring the foot and be done for the rest of the season. So I just want him to be smart how they work him back in. Don't push the man too hard or too much. He's going to do enough. He's going to do enough of that on his own. And I just pray to God that when he comes back, he's 100% healthy.
Look, I agree with you. I want him to take as much time as he needs because it's a long season. We need him for the stretch run as opposed to anything else. I just want to make sure that he's okay enough to go out there and be who he is, because at the end of the day, he's one of our best athletes on the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
Jair Alexander was a full participant in practice this week. Hopefully he's a go to where he can at least play some snaps, be on a limited snap count. Hopefully that will be the case, because if not, we're going to have Wouzier, lining up against their number 3 wide receiver, who I believe is Gabe Davis. He just signed there a couple of days ago after a year away from them in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the game. It's a lot of anticipation. There's a lot riding. I think there's a lot of pressure on the Ravens this year, Wilcox, and I don't know how you feel about that, but the expectations are high, especially now that the national media has pretty much almost unanimously picked the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. I know ESPN, everybody today on their daytime talk show, Dan Orlovsky, Stephen A. Smith, Mina Kims, everybody, they all picked the Ravens to win it all this year. And that's a tall order, as you know, getting there and winning it all. Do you think that this is the last year of that window that everybody talks about, to where the Ravens need to make a deep run to the Super Bowl before this team blows up and you got to start paying people or making the choice not to pay people?
Yeah, I think this is it. This is a huge year for the Ravens. I mean, DaCosta has done a phenomenal job of putting together this squad over the years. I mean, we're stacked. I mean, we're loaded. I feel like we got every personnel we need in order to go win it. Last year kind of threw us for the loop with the whole Justin Tucker thing going on and missing all the field goals. We lost 4 or 5 games during the season that we shouldn't have lost because of field goals. And then we got into the playoffs and just kind of shit it down our legs like 2 years in a row as far as play calling and just executing plays.
Right.
So it's the attention to detail things that's kind of been killing us, year in and year out. This season it's not like a put up or shut up year, but I just feel like, Harbaugh they've given him a lot. And at some point, I don't know when you're going to start taking stuff away from them. You give them so much, and you got to put together a staff to be able to coach these guys in order to be at their best. He had a new DC last year. We kind of started off really, really slow in the season as far as playing. Same thing happened 2 years prior, when Mike McDonald took over, and it took us a while to kind of get going then too as well. We had that crazy game with the Dolphins where they came back with like 4 or 5 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And so just where we at right now, I just feel like this is the type of year that you're supposed to remember what happened last year and how bad it felt. And then you're supposed to take that year and let that year drive you and push you. And then we had the 2 deaths last year too with Jacoby and Mike D. So it just, when you think about that, man, we had so much motivation going into that season and so much drive and energy going into that season. But I think the Justin Tucker stuff just kind of deflated the team as the year went on, and kind of deflated some of the fans too. I mean, we was all scratching our head trying to figure out what was going on. And then as soon as the season over with, you find out everything that was going on throughout the season, with all the case and all the accusations and stuff like that. Now you let Justin Tucker go. You go draft you a kicker for the first time in NFL for the Raven history since '96, since they started the franchise. First draft pick as a kicker, and the guy came in. He looks great in preseason, and you pray that he's able to pick up and move forward in the old ways of what Justin Tucker used to do for the team and perform for the team. If it comes down to field goals this year, Matt, we're hoping with Loop, this would be the difference maker to kind of win some of those games that we lost last year.
Yeah.
If we can get all of them, man, it could, like I said, it could be an undefeated season. It's going to be interesting.
It definitely is. This game, to me, it's a little bit more personal because the Buffalo Bills have leapfrogged the Pittsburgh Steelers for me. They've leapfrogged the Kansas City Chiefs.
Correct.
Because to be completely honest about it, they gave the MVP to the wrong person last year.
They did.
They eliminated us from the playoffs in a game that was filled with mistakes. And I want this game because Lamar needs to set the tone for this year, and he does that anyway. He unequivocally does that every year. Yeah. I'm not expecting Lamar to have the year this year that he had last year. That might never be seen again, where a quarterback throws for over 4,000 and runs for nearly 1,000. It's video game numbers, and
your tailback runs for almost 2,000 too.
Right. I'm not expecting Derrick Henry to go out there and run for 2,000 yards. There's no secret anymore. There's a whole year worth of game film on this offense, and for all intents and purposes, it's the same offense, except you take away Nelson Aguilar and you add DeAndre Hopkins. So D-Hop is an upgraded wide receiver 3. So there's that element to it. But Lamar you can tell Lamar's hungry for this. He wants to give this city another ring. He wants to win a Lombardi for himself. And I think a Lombardi trophy cements Lamar as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
I already think he is, Matt. I mean, he's already got a Hall of Fame career already.
He does.
The Super Bowl would be the thing that would definitely put him over the hump. And no matter what, I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's already one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game. He's got a bunch of young kids that are trying to be Lamar Jackson right now. He was the kid grew up trying to be Michael Vick, and now he's the kid that everybody that's the precedence for everybody else.
He's Michael Vick times 10.
He is. He is. He's exceptional.
And I know you played during the same time period as Michael Vick, so you have a little bit more authority on it to speak on it. But maybe it's my bias, but I don't ever remember Vick being as efficient of a passer in terms of accuracy and just overall poise as Lamar Jackson.
Vic had it, dog. He had it all. He had all the tools, all the intangibles. His career just got cut short in the middle. And as soon as he got to like year 5, year 6, that's when the whole dog thing happened. And it took away his real growth in this league. And Lamar hasn't had that break. He's been able to come in as a freshman. As a rookie, when Flacco went down in the playoffs and came in and started leading the team, and he really never looked back. every year he's had a chance to get better year in and year out. He had a couple of years with injuries, but besides those years, man, like he's had a chance to get better, fine tune his craft. He has some really good coaching, and they built the entire organization around him, just like they did in Atlanta for Michael Vick. But being able to see Michael Vick live, man, it was probably the coldest thing I think I've ever seen in person. Like I wished I had a quarterback like him. And now I see Lamar Jackson plays, and it was like, oh my God, like how different would my career be if I had Lamar Jackson for all 9 seasons? Would I would have played 12? Would I would have played 15? Would I play 20? I don't know. It's just, having somebody like Lamar Jackson as your quarterback and you play the tight end or the H-back position, I mean, I think he just extends your career for years and years to come. Vic was pretty accurate, but Lamar to me is just phenomenal. Like everything that he's doing. And he's been consistent from day one, and people was hating on him, but he couldn't throw, he couldn't do it. All that's BS. The kid was doing it at Louisville. He was doing it in high school. He did it in the NFL. He's doing it in the NFL as well. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they alter this offense, because if Pat Ricard doesn't play Sunday night, you're gonna have to do a lot more 3 wide sets, a lot more 4 wide sets. You're going to have to, utilize Charlie Kohler as Pat Ricard, and that's probably a noticeable drop off in run blocking. The only thing that really worries me about this team, Daniel, is the offensive line.
Really?
I'm not worried about Ronnie Stanley. I'm not worried about Tyler Linderbaum. I'm not worried about Roger Rosengarten. Those 3 guys are solid to me. Voorhees is projected to be in the opening lineup at left guard, and Daniel Faalele at right guard.
Yeah, Faalele he's been suspect all training camp.
Right. So if you listen to Todd Monken, he was a superstar. And then if you watch the games with your own eyes, you realize he was getting tossed around by backup defensive tackles and defensive ends.
Yeah.
And then Voorhees has been battling injuries since his senior year at USC. We didn't really do anything to upgrade the offensive line in terms of free agency over the offseason. We added a backup swing tackle to kind of be what Makari was, and Joe Noteboom. But yeah, that's the only thing is the interior of the line. You got a $55 million quarterback, and he's arguably the best player in the entire league.
Yeah,
back there, and then you got now you got a $15 million running back there, and it's like, okay, their 3rd round draft pick Emory Jones Jr. hasn't even practiced once. He's been on the NFI, which is the non-football injury list, since minicamp, and he's not going to play. There's a lot of young guys that are backing up the offensive line, so that's a little bit of a worry for me. Because
same here.
At the end of the day, it's not like Buffalo's got a couple of 340-pound horses in the middle that are going to give these guys fits. They're a smaller, faster defense, led up front by Ed Oliver, and they signed Joey Bosa this year to replace Von Miller.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see. For those of you that are watching the show that didn't, that weren't with us last year on the previous version of what we do here, Daniel and I always pick an offensive player of the game, a defensive player of the game, and then we pick the score. And that's always the fun part of these shows for the preview shows, man. Just kind of usually we'll have a guest. We're going to start having some guests later on in the season, but it's good to have just us on the inaugural preview show for the regular season. But if you had to pick right now, Daniel, who is the offensive player of the game for the Ravens in Week 1?
Derrick Henry.
Yep,
heavy dose of Henry. Take your time. Don't try to do too much with the offense. Turn around and get a ball to your workhorse. Let them beat up these guys a little bit. Then, get your 1-2 punch with Justice Hill. Get him in there. He's shifty, quick. He'll make those guys. He'll loosen those guys up a little bit. and then Henry will bruise him up a little bit. So I think Henry will have a big game. I think he'll have over 100 yards his first week. And then on defense, if I had to say a defensive guy, I kind of really want to see Roquan Smith get off early. I really want to see him get off to a good start. He's the leader of this defense. We haven't seen him all preseason. Kind of excited to kind of see what Agent Zero is going to do. So I'm going to go with Roquan Smith this game. I'm looking forward to him doing some big stuff.
Okay, that's fair. You're gonna like my offensive pick, and it's not gonna be who you would expect.
Running stand.
Nope. I think this is gonna be a Mark Andrews game.
I like it.
I was very critical of Mark Andrews, and I know you took exception to it. I know you defended your guy, and he's still my guy.
Yeah, he's H-back. He's tight end.
That's one of your peoples.
Yeah.
Mark is arguably the greatest tight end that's ever played for the Ravens. That's been drafted by the Ravens. I'll say that.
Yeah.
This year he needs 250 yards to become the Ravens' all-time leading.
He got it.
Yeah, he's got that in the bag by probably week 7 or week 8.
Yeah.
And he's already leads the franchise in receiving touchdowns. I think this is gonna be a game where I'm not gonna say he eclipses 100 yards, but I can see him having 2 touchdown catches.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna make these guys pay for what he personally has owned up to as it being on him. On offense. On defense, I'm going to go with Nate Wiggins. I think they're going to try and throw at Nate because they know what Marlon is.
Correct.
And I think if Allen's going to throw at anybody in the secondary, he's not throwing at Kyle Hamilton. Nobody's throwing at Kyle Hamilton.
I would throw at Marlon. I would go with Marlon before I go at Nate.
Right. But, Marlon's a proven lockdown. And that's where I sit with that.
I'm with you.
But in the end of the day, I think Wiggins gets a turnover late to kind of seal the deal and take this home. So score, it's a little bit different because it's week 1. None of our starters have played at all since last January. What do you think the final score is going to be at the end of the Sunday Night Football?
I'm going to go 28 to 21.
Okay, 28-21.
And that's being generous. I don't, scoring 28 points the first week and score 28, that's me kind of being generous. But I just think this is an explosive offense, and I think the defense is going to hold them under 21. So I'm going to say 21 for the defense on our side, and I'm going to say 28 on offense. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm going to go 31-17 Baltimore. I think that this defense this is a lot different defensively. I know we're bringing almost everybody back, but with the addition of Jair Alexander and Malachi Starks, I think that this defense is better in week 1 this year than they were this time last year.
Way better.
So I think that you're going to see a lot of aggression. You're going to see, and then we added Mike Green at the pass rush. You now have that extra added layer of Mike Green to where he can set the edge. He can rush Josh Allen and make him uncomfortable. So I believe that they can do that and hold these guys to under 21.
It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
I was listening to the local sports radio earlier today, and they were talking about the days of Ray Lewis and Ed and Terrell Suggs and all those guys. And you were part of a lot of those teams. And what's it like now watching as somebody that covers the team as a former member of the roster, to where Ray and the boys essentially said, "Hey, we'll hold them under 14 to 17 points. Just go out there and get a couple touchdowns for us." The defense won a lot of these games over the years, and now there's such a high octane offense that once they get rolling, you could realistically expect them to put up 40 to 45 points every single game.
Right. I think the biggest difference for me is watching the offense be as explosive as it is. These last like 4 or 5 years, the offense has been all the excitement. When I played, it was all defense.
Right.
Yeah, we had a really good offense. We had a really good running back in Jamal, and then Willis McGahee and those guys, and LaRon McClain, all those guys came in towards the end, and Ray Rice. We always had good running backs, and we always had an issue with the quarterback. It was always a quarterback issue, so we never had nobody as explosive as Lamar until we got Steve McNair, who was kind of like a fraction of what Lamar is right now, right?
Right.
But he was the closest thing I had my entire career to a Lamar Jackson. And I think the most exciting thing is watching the defense develop into to have the identity that they're going to have, which I think is going to get back to that Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed type vibe, that Haloti Ngata type vibe. It's coming back. Like they're bringing it back right now with the Kyle Hamiltons, the Roquan Smiths, all the big fellows they got up front. They got some dogs up there. We just waiting on one of those. I thought it was going to be Numdy, but all those guys are still trying to, come up with their identity. Cal Van Noy has kind of emerged as one of those guys like a Suggs coming off the edge for us. Now you got Green out there. So I'm just waiting for somebody to just take it and start getting 15 sacks a year, but it was super exciting because it kept pressure on the other team all the time, the other team's quarterback, and it forced him to make rush decisions. It kept him uncomfortable. And even my pastor says, man, if it don't challenge you, it won't change you, right? So what happens is those guys get back there to the quarterback and challenge the quarterback, and the quarterback have to make some changing decisions really, really quick. And he ended up throwing the ball, or the ball gets tipped, and somebody, or Ed Reed picks it off, and he pitches it back to a Deion Sanders or a Samari Roll. And it was fun to watch, man. It was a great time for the NFL football in the city of Baltimore. Like we just played like it was backyard football on defense, and the offense was still trying to figure out what their identity is. The offense knows exactly what their identity is on this team. So it's great to watch them. Every now and then we break down and kind of go get besides ourselves in like a big game where maybe our buttholes get a little bit too tight and we start calling plays differently. But for the most part, this offense they got an identity, and people are afraid to see this offense. And then you got the defense study developing. Zach Orr, his second season as a DC. I think this defense. Well, I don't think this defense is going to be probably one of the premier defenses in the league this year, in the top 2, top 3. Maybe number 1 all year long. And I think they're going to do some things that's going to shock some people. It's going to be a very fun game to watch this year if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan. And I love the fact that we're stacked the way we are, and we got some dogs back there in the secondary, at linebacker, and in the D-line. And this is going to be a fun season to watch. I think the expectations are super high. I know mine are. I know Matt is.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to just watching some Ravens football all year long. This is going to be an exciting season for me.
It definitely is. And the defense is carrying 3 undrafted rookie free agents. Ruben Lowry, Keon Martin, and Jay Higgins. Now with the being the regular season, you don't know how much you're going to see of those guys.
Correct.
Other than special teams. I have a feeling I agree with you, Wilcox, that I think it's going to be one of those special years on defense, and it's very hard to live up to defense in Baltimore. You know that firsthand. That you played on the 2016, which is arguably probably the second best defense this in this franchise's history.
Yeah,
they were monsters all over the place, and I feel like right now they in today's NFL, you got a premier middle linebacker, you got a premier nose tackle, you got a premier cornerback, a premier safety, and Kyle Van Noy, like you said, is having a Terrell Suggs-esque kind of late in the career veteran presence to where he can still get after the quarterback, but he provides that experience on the edge just in leading this defense. I'm looking forward to Sunday night. I want to see us come out sharp.
Me too.
I want to see us come out ready, and I want us to beat the Buffalo Bills in their final home opener of that god-awful stadium that they have. I said it last night, and I don't know if you're aware of it. I'm sure you don't know this because you don't care about the simple shit the way that I do. Josh Allen's most redeeming quality is his wife. And if you don't know who his wife is, she was in the movie Sinners, and she played counterpart to Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, she's awesome. I love her.
Yeah, that's the only, that's I didn't know Josh Allen married her. I was like, oh, wow,
nice job,
yeah.
Josh.
Yeah, that's the only time he'll ever get a nice job out of anybody on this show.
Yeah,
and
nice
before
job.
we wrap it up,
he deserved the MVP off that one alone.
Yeah, all right, yeah, all right. But before we wrap the show, I want to say thank you to everybody that came out and saw you at the fairgrounds this past weekend, signing autographs with Evan Oglesby, and thank you guys for coming through the fantasy football draft and hanging out. I got to show you guys around my neck of the woods a little bit.
It was all pleasure.
Yeah, it was a good time. Oglesby buying that big ass bag of cards is still some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen, man.
Those baseball cards.
The baseball cards, and he found the I Love Lucy card in there.
He found a bunch of I Love Lucy's in there, like about 10 of them.
Yeah. But it was a cool place. We hit the Avenue Kitchen and Bar for a late lunch, but it was cool for you to come through. For those of you guys who don't know, that was the first time Wilcox and I have hung out in person. We do this virtually, so it was nice. And yeah, that'll do it for the preview show. We'll be back to do a recap of the game. It'll most likely be Monday, I'm assuming, because we play on Sunday Night Football, and both of us are going to have to work on early on Monday morning. So that'll do it, Wilcox. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Hey, man, on Twitter, it's at Coach Wilcox, and on IG is Daniel.Wilcox. Follow me anytime. Go ahead, Matt.
That'll do it, folks. Thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share We Bleed Purple podcast on YouTube. We are almost at our goal. We are 21 subscribers away from that 100 mark. So if you can, share it with your family, share it with your friends, share it on social media, and we will see you guys